It's been a couple of years since the quarantine and the lockdown and the restrictions associated with COVID-19 have been lifted, and although those restrictions and the lockdown did change the way we do things forever, a lot of things have gotten back to normal. One of the things that we should be grateful to COVID-19 for, and the quarantine and the restrictions, is the way it changed the way we can participate in court proceedings. When the lockdowns occurred, we were unable to come to court because they didn't want people showing up en masse in courthouses where they could spread the disease to one another. So what they did is instead allowed people to participate remotely. I would turn on the camera on my phone or in my office, and I would turn on the mic, and then the court would do the same, and the witnesses and the opposing counsel and the other parties would all engage in the same proceedings without coming into the courthouse and into the courtroom, but instead would participate remotely through an audio-visual internet conference. That was a great boon. It saved a lot of time, and it saved a lot of money, and it saved a lot of hassle associated previously with having to show up in person for court proceedings. You didn't have to take a half or a whole day of work off to come to court. You could go to work, wait till your case was called, appear remotely, and then you were done and you could go right back to work. If you were a homemaker, you wouldn't have to get a babysitter and then drive down to the courthouse. Instead, you could simply turn on the camera and maybe have the kids walk outside or something like that and play while you were participating, and then you could go back to your day. You didn't have to incur fuel costs. You didn't have to incur wear and tear. There were so many things on your vehicle, I should say. There were so many things that were good about this that you would think, well, all right, now that life has gotten back to as close to normal as it was before COVID-19, we're surely not going to give up all the gains that we've obtained through remote video and audiovisual conferences in court. But that doesn't appear to be what Utah courts want to do. They seem to think that we were all really unhappy with the fact that we appeared remotely, and we can't wait to appear personally in court again. Just the opposite is true. And I think the courts know this. I think the people that run the courts know this. So why they are not embracing still, after the lockdowns and the quarantine have been lifted, the audio-video remote appearances for court proceedings, I don't know. Everybody I know, with the exception of a very few, want to continue to have the convenience and the benefits of appearing remotely in court. Remember that even though it is now the default in most courts to hold in-person hearings and conferences, except in a few situations, there are some situations in court where the genie is out of the bottle and the toothpaste is out of the tube and can't be put back in, where we're going to be doing remote conferences, and that will be the norm. But there are still a lot of courts that are reluctant to hold evidentiary hearings or trials remotely, and I think that's ridiculous. I think that the technology is only going to get better so that remote trials and hearings are going to be better and easier to conduct than ever before, but only if we allow that progress to be made by continuing to engage in remote proceedings. So, if you are a litigant in a case where you don't want to appear in court, and I can't imagine why you would, you can, in most cases, even if you were told that your proceeding will be in person in the courtroom, in the courthouse, you can file a motion allowing you to participate remotely. And unless there is some compelling reason as to why you need to be in the courthouse in person, you will likely have that motion granted where you can appear remotely, thus saving the time of travel, the fuel costs, the wear and tear, and just the overall hassle, the missed work that would otherwise be associated with coming to court. So keep that in mind. If your lawyer doesn't tell you about it, don't be afraid to ask your lawyer about it.